So this month, September, marks the 18th anniversary of the launch of our first book, Looneyspoons. I know, I can hardly believe it. So doing the math in my head, my sister and I were ages 9 and 10 when we wrote that. Here we are, in our turtle pool, striking a pose. Because I'm the author of healthy cookbooks, a lot of people think that I'm going to be talking about recipe ideas during my speaking appearances. You'll soon discover why that's not going to happen. However, I do share one secret recipe that's super juicy, it's really satisfying, and it's really easy to digest. I call it the Looneyspoons recipe for success. Our entire Looneyspoons story is really about following the heart. It's about dreaming really big, about refusing to give up, and overcoming incredible odds. It's about belief in oneself and belief that really anything is possible, even when people tell you otherwise. It's about listening to your gut instinct, those voices in your head, those little whispers you hear nudging you one way or another. It's that inner guidance that's really a connection to something that's much, much bigger. We both had full-time jobs. I worked as a sales executive at Corel Corporation in Ottawa. That was a computer company. And Greta worked on Parliament Hill for the Minister of Revenue. That's Podleski, not Lewinsky. It was a paid position. She was not an intern. After 1 month, we decided this was it. We'd quit our jobs and work on our idea full-time. And we both made a pact going out the door that morning that we would quit our jobs. So I remember at 11 o'clock in the morning calling Greta and saying, "Did you quit?" And she said, "No." And I said, "Neither did I." And we hung up. And then I called her back at 4 o'clock and I said, "Did you quit?" And she said, "No." And I said, "Well, I did. And you have to go in there right now and quit your job." So she took a big gulp, and then she had to go in and talk to her boss, and she couldn't bear telling him she was leaving her safe, secure, well-paying job to work on a cookbook with her domestically impaired sister. So she decided to tell her boss she was leaving to work on a secret project with her sister. Who talks like that? Nobody. As she was leaving, she said, "I can't say what it is, but someday you'll hear about it." We just couldn't give up. If we gave up now, we'd never know how close we might have been to success. So many people do that. They're so close, and then they quit. Success was just around the corner. I mean, look at the inventor of Preparation G. If he had just kept going. You're laughing really hard. I like that. You're familiar with that product. We had an everything but the kitchen sink yard sale. We hauled all of our possessions onto the front lawn that we could part with: stereos, TV, ghetto blasters, clothing, you name it. If it wasn't nailed down, we probably sold it. And then in the heat of the moment, I drove my car onto the front lawn and I tied balloons to it and I sold it for $5,000 because we really needed the money. Then we got our big break. On his way home, Dave stopped at his parents' house and he gave the sample pages to his mom, who's an avid cookbook collector and a really good cook. And he told her to try the recipes and let him know if they were any good. So she did, and she also took the recipes to her bridge club and handed them out to her friends. So a couple weeks later, she called Dave and said, "You've got to help these girls publish this book." She said, "I love it, and so do all my friends. This is the best food I've ever eaten." And Dave said, "The best healthy food?" And his mom said, "No, it's the best food, period. I want 15 copies as soon as it's printed, and so do all my friends." Well, that was enough market research for Dave. He was in. And as you probably know, Dave Chilton is now one of the dragons on CBC's Dragon's Den. So little did he know way back in 1996 that we were prepping him for the show with his first ever official pitch. And I often have people that come up to me and they say, "I'd love to do XYZ for a career or for a new job, but I don't have the education or the background, and so I can't do it." And I always think, really? You can't? I mean, my sister and I had no publishing experience. We had no experience in the food business. We had no culinary background. We had no money. And somehow we managed to create 4 of the best-selling cookbooks ever in Canadian publishing history. Our father died of lung cancer in 1991, and our mom was quite lonely, having had a big family, and then it's just down to her. So now it's like our book has given her a new social life and a new lease on life. All of a sudden, people at the mall or at the bank stop her, and they say, "Mrs. Podleski, you must be so proud of your daughters." They come over to get autographed copies at her house, and they stay, and they have coffee. She even created a new part-time job for herself. She toted boxes of books in her car and stocked local bookstores for us. She would put on a suit and have a little name tag, said Janet and Greta's mom. And she'd get mad at them if our book wasn't right at the front, displayed at the front of the store. She doesn't realize that publishers pay thousands of dollars for that space. She's like, "They're my girls." Our mom goes to Costco regularly now to spy on our book. So she drags people from the cereal aisle right over to the book aisle, and she points to our book, and she says, "That's a wonderful book. I'm cooking from it all the time. And look at me, I lost my cholesterol." Apparently, our mother is the heart healthiest person in Canada. She has no cholesterol. She lost it. Even if you have to fake it till you make it. After a while, you'll get out of your head and you'll feel it. It's the feeling in your heart, and that's where true miracles happen, in the heart and in the gut. So like my sister and I did in our story, you have to act from the outcome. Emotion, you have to have elevated emotion and get super excited about it so you feel it in your body. And then having gratitude. And if you have gratitude and feel grateful, that means that you've already got what you were praying for. You're already in the future life that you wanted, or you've got what it is that you've been after. And then you'd have gratitude. That's when big things start happening. And they've actually hooked electrodes and all kinds of ECGs up to people, and they've done experiments, and they've literally shown how the body changes neurochemically when the emotion of gratitude is used. Nutrition is more than just the food we eat. It actually has vibration and frequency, and that can impact our bodies. So that's why when your mom makes her delicious homemade soup or meatloaf, it tastes so great, because it was created with love. And I see a lot of people when they're eating that big slab of chocolate cheesecake, and I know in their head they're thinking of the 3,579 sit-ups they're going to have to do to burn it off, instead of just enjoying every single morsel. That's what's really important. So if you think something's going to make you fat or kill you, it probably will. A lot of it's based on our thoughts. I see that all the time. So as our thoughts go, so do we.